All right, all right, all right. 93, 93, 93. This is Amon Asherenew from asherenew.com. Once again, move this slide over a little bit. Let's see, hold on. May need to just turn this off. Yeah, I think that's a little better. All right. So before we get into the actual topic, I guess I should speak about what's been going on, the updates, where we're going from here, so on and so forth. And basically, just look out for a lot of content. If you have been paying attention to the community tab, I made the post that I wanted to upload 1,000 videos, not 1,000 videos in total, but essentially I'm like at 930 videos or something like that. So I got about 70 uploads before I hit 1,000 videos. So I wanted to do that essentially, by next month, which is September. So it was like I got a bunch of videos in the cut, that I'm just gonna upload, I'm gonna push out, just little clips, little between 5, 10 minutes. It's not necessarily super long builds. I'll leave that to the live stream. And also how I even create the content had to change. I'm using, different things, different ways to create the content. You know, I'm not doing anything essentially on the computer anymore. Everything is mobile. So I'm either using a phone or a tablet. So this has allowed me to be more versatile, right? Because I'm not just, working with the Apple technology. I'm also working with the Android technology, right? So I'm essentially moving through both worlds, just seeing what happens and putting all these pieces together and see what comes from it. But beyond that, that's just personal stuff, that's regular stuff. Let's get into the actual content itself. Because the question that is asked is, and I'm probably gonna do, I don't know, I'm gonna try to do maybe 3, 4, 5 live streams. Again, I'm not trying to make this too long. I'm trying to do more and more. Instead of just doing an extremely long live, I'd rather do maybe 3, 4, 5. So that way it's, different things being discussed instead of just one thing being discussed. What's up, Luciferian Jesus lover? Salute to you. Salute to you. And of course, as you see, I'm just letting my hair grow out. So if it look a little crazy, it's like I'm just allowing it to grow out. I'm gonna actually be twisting it up. So I'm gonna twist it up. So, if you see me looking a little rough, I'm gonna twist all this up. So all that, just going through the process, just going through the alchemy. But yeah, everything been good in terms of, I'm a lot more focused. What's up, Dank Wizard? What's up, Isaiah? What's up, what's up? Yeah, at this point, I'm a lot more focused, What I have been going through personally, it's been more of, I'm sure everybody's been going through it, it's, you see the people amongst you, and not just the people amongst you, but also the world as a whole. You see people essentially, either they're acting out or, they're being other than themselves. And, we see a lot of people, folding because of all the pressure that has been building up in the world, right? So I'm sure I'm not the only one. You've been seeing people act, out of themselves or other than themselves. And then you have seen other people become more focused. So instead of me following suit, I'm like, okay, well, everybody else is acting crazy, or using it as an excuse to act crazy. What I mean by that is this, like, let me give further context. Because we understand we have the inflation going on, we have the war in Ukraine, we have what's going on in Taiwan, we have what's going on every day in our American streets, right? And clearly the government is turning up the heat. What I mean by turning up the heat is the government wants us to essentially commit more crimes. Life is harder for the average American or essentially everybody. Everybody is feeling it in some type of way. Everybody is going through some type of change, whether it's radical or subtle. So because all of us are going through these changes, we are essentially seeing it manifest on the physical plane. And again, it's taking some people out of their character and it's bringing other people closer into their character. So I had found myself moving away from my character. So I had to give myself a reminder. I'm like, okay, this is actually the time to be more focused. Like just because everybody else is wilding out, or just because we see the world wilding out, and just because we see all these radical changes occurring, that's just a symbol or a symbolic form of us to get back into the self. Because as I was saying before, the world wants you to turn up. The world wants you to go out there and harm somebody who looks like you, to take something from somebody who looks like you. The world wants us to turn up on each other, and essentially throw away our lives and throw away the lives of our fellow man and woman. So of course, when people can't pay bills, when people can't get gas, when people have a hard time getting food, we turn up. There's a lot more crime. But ultimately, if the government did everything it was supposed to do, there would really be no crime. And if there is no crime, you don't have people locked up. And if you don't have people locked up, that's a lot of business that simply doesn't get done. That's a lot of free labor that essentially just can't be performed. So what happens is they would prefer that you turn up, right? Because that allows you to become, you can say, a victim of the system. And now they can have you doing things that you simply don't want to do. And that's essentially the box that they're trying to put us in. They're trying to put us in a box so that we cannot do what we came here to do, our divine mission, our divine will, our true will, our thelema. You can say the world is against that. That's why you always have forces. Every day you get up to make your dreams a reality, you have forces that want to stagnate that progression. That's just a law of polarity. So every time you get up with a positive intent, for example, there's always a force that's getting up with a negative intent to make your life harder if you allow it to. See, for me, it's been more of, I just been finding it hard to, be able to properly record. It's always a million and one things going on. When you're dealing with family, when you're dealing with people that are close to you, you want to make sure that everybody's in a good mental space instead of, you just being in your own world, detached. So because, again, shit is real for everybody at this point. So we have to make sure that everybody's in a good space. But you see, when I do this type of content, this isn't something that, I can bring just people into the room to discuss. As you see, most of the time, you only see me. Like, majority of the time I've had this channel, you essentially only seen me. I did a couple, interviews, I did a couple little things with other people, but for the most part, you see, it's been almost 10 years at this point. You've only really seen me. Because the type of work that I do, again, it's not really something that you're going to do with a room full of people. Unless they're all on the same page. But at the same time, the odds of that occurring is slim to none. What I mean by that is, anybody can claim to be spiritual, anybody can claim whatever title they want to claim, but when it comes to actually putting in the work, when it comes to actually making things happen in the occult world, in the spirit world, you don't have that many people who dedicate their entire lives to making that happen. What I mean by that is most of us have to live a dualistic reality. We still have to essentially punch into the matrix. We still have to deal with the world. We still have to deal with human beings. There's not too many people that's just completely off the grid that's trying to create a whole another structure, right? And it's not their job to do so. Essentially, that's why I'm like, I'm not out here looking for anyone either. That's the whole thing. I'm not looking to be a part of a tribe or a clan or a group. I don't claim 93 because it's 1,000,001 other people claiming 93. I claim 93 because it's like I'm the only one really in terms of, not the only one, obviously other people know about the Lima. But you see that these people are not necessarily all connected. Again, we're not amongst each other like that because we don't need to be. Because this is the journey of the soul practitioner, meaning you're going to spend more time alone than you are with other people, especially those who are your alike, who think like you. So you're going to spend majority of the time with people that don't think like you because your thoughts are a lot more radical, a lot more or a lot less mainstream. And I've dealt with these things over the years. Again, so me claiming the Lima, me speaking about the works of Aleister Crowley, for example, isn't something that everybody's going to understand, obviously, simply because of the lifestyle that he lived. Right? Everybody has their opinion about Aleister Crowley, so everybody isn't going to, just rush over and see what you have to say. However, I had to do the due diligence to separate the man from the works. So essentially, I don't claim 93 because I'm pro Aleister Crowley or whatever he decided to do with his life. That was his personal decision. Because the Lima has nothing to do with Aleister Crowley. Because the Lima, as we know, comes from Awas. Aleister Crowley was the vessel. Aleister Crowley was the medium. So he is not the author of the Book of the Law. He is not the author of many of the Class A works. These are channels. So if you look at Aleister Crowley and you look at the type of lifestyle he lived, and you look at, okay, this is what I have to do, I need to do what he did, then you're making a mistake. But you see, it's real easy to fall into that trap because we're looking at other people. We're looking at people like idols. We're trying to be like other people. We want to rap because another person wants to rap. We want to blog because the next person wants to blog. So on and so forth. You just see a lot of followers instead of people creating an original way, an original path, because it's not easy to do. That's the whole thing. It's easier to walk down a path that you see other people have already walked down because the path is already there. It's a whole different story when you have to forge the path yourself and you don't even see nobody else willing to even help you forge the path. Essentially, they come around when the path is already forged. So what I mean by that is, we see it all the time. For example, we see it in hip hop with, the drill rap, and we see a lot of the fans, they instigate beef. They want their favorite rappers to beef with rappers that they don't like, so they put batteries in the rappers' backs, the beef, to diss. And that's why we see so much of that in the culture, because it really comes from the fans. It ain't really coming from the direct circle. Because when it comes to the direct circle, you have certain people that you are against, certain people that are your adversaries. Whatever beefs that you may have had in the streets, sometimes they bleed over into the music. But that may just be with one other group of people. That isn't a whole city. So what I'm saying here is, you can say fans are dangerous. Fans can get you killed because you think people are fans, but they really don't have your best interests at heart at all. That's the whole thing. That's something that I had to learn on my journey. That's why you see I'm not live streaming no more outside like I used to 5 years ago. because I had to come to the realization that, okay, well, just because people are watching me on my live stream doesn't mean that they have my best interests at heart, doesn't mean that they agree with me. You have some people that essentially would like to make an example of anybody. Hence why we have literally seen people die on live. You've seen people live streaming thinking shit is cool, and you end up losing your life or something bad happens to you. See, that wasn't the case when it first started. Like I was live streaming essentially immediately when you were able to do it back in 2017. When I first started live streaming, I literally got the update on YouTube. As soon as I got the update that you can now live stream, I probably started live streaming like that same day. So as soon as you were able to live stream on your mobile device, of course you were able to live stream on YouTube, from a desktop. But you were not able to live stream from mobile devices until essentially 2017. So once you were allowed to live stream, I immediately got on it. So instantly I was live streaming. So it was still a new phenomenon at that point because you haven't, you wasn't seeing people just at random locations live streaming. People would just be in their homes. So when we began to start seeing people, navigate the world on live, then we began to see the consequences of that. That people can essentially easily discover where you are, especially when you're in a big city. It's not hard to find out where a person is, especially when you're displaying your location. So if somebody doesn't have your best interest at heart, it's not too hard for them to make an example out of you. So the more and more I begin to see these things occur, I'm like, okay, why would I put myself in those type of positions as if everybody is friendly? Yeah, just because I go to LA, I can be walking down the street, but somebody can be watching a live stream that doesn't agree with what I'm saying. I'm not saying, okay, that's going to make them want to harm me, but maybe they just want to interrupt the live stream. And fortunately, nothing like that has happened, in my live streams. Any interruptions were positive. So I'm more so just speaking about what I was seeing amongst other people. Because just because it didn't happen to me doesn't mean it's not possible. Like I'm not going to look at myself as untouchable because that's when you make a mistake. Again, thinking that everybody is positive, thinking that just because people are watching you that they actually agree with you or support you, that's not always the case. Hence, that's what a troll is. Why do we think so many people have trolls? They can't even get on live and spread their message without somebody being in a live chat, completely taking the conversation in a whole different direction. Hold on. So I say the live stream is it's bugging out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop on a different phone here and I'll just do another video. I guess it's fine now. So yeah, it was kind of stuttering. But you see, that's why you see I have to go between Apple and Android. So now, essentially what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna move to another phone, right? Because I see it's kind of scrambling up. And I see it ain't necessarily YouTube. I'm not gonna blame YouTube. It may just be the phone. And because as soon as I use the other phone, then I don't have any issues. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna make a part 2 on a different phone and I'll be right back. So 93, 93, 93.